On the outside, man, Courtney Moses has it going on, but internally, I was struggling. Jesus and that encounter, I knew during that time I was overcome with peace that surpasses all understanding. He prayed over her and she took a big gasp of air.
Courtney, you grew up in Indiana playing lots of sports. You were told you're too short for basketball, but why focus on basketball?
My nickname growing up was Short Court, actually, and really just a love for the game, pure love for the game. From the time I was little, before I even knew that the WNBA wasn't even a thing yet when I was born, and so just having the ball in my hand when I was younger, it was just a pure love for the game and something that I fell in love with.
When did Christian faith become a part of your life?
I'm super grateful. I grew up in a community where, if you don't know haven't been introduced to who Jesus is, it's kind of well, you don't know who Jesus or God is. And so you have every opportunity all around you to be impacted by the gospel where I grew up at. So it was from my parents, from the household I grew up in, grandparents, aunts, uncles, teachers, coaches. I just grew up in an area where the Spirit is very, very active in making sure that you are being encountered.
Fabulous. Was there a time that you felt you really encountered Jesus personally in a specific way?
I would say, so a lot of people, I work with a lot of clients and I tell them they don't prepare you for transitions, especially when you transition out of your household as an 18-year-old and when you transition, say you go to college, when you transition as a 22-year-old into the real world. And they don't prepare you for your 20s. I think that I'm very passionate about people in their 20s. So when I transitioned from, I grew up in a wonderful house. When I transitioned to Purdue University, I went through a really just tough time during that transition. And that's when I really encountered Jesus. And I'll never forget there was this hill called Slater Hill. I was really struggling, just mentally in a low spot. And there was a storm that came in. I got stuck on this hill. I had my bicycle there, I couldn't go anywhere. And I found some shelter and some trees. I'll never forget there being a dove that showed up on this limb in this tree, and just the overcome. And really that was a time when I really felt the Spirit speaking to me and just a sense of peace.
So what difference did that make?
The difference that it made, it was nothing external. So I was coming off a time where I just got Miss Basketball, which goes to the top senior in the state. You're awarded this award, you get to wear the #1 jersey, you go down in history as Miss Basketball of that year. I'm going to a high major college, Division I. I have a full ride scholarship. On the outside, man, Courtney Moses has it going on, but internally, I was struggling. And especially when you're in a position where you're a role model and a mentor and you feel like everybody thinks that you have it going on, you don't know who to talk to sometimes. And so Jesus and that encounter, I knew during that time I was overcome with peace that surpasses all understanding. And one of the names for God is Jireh, and just that He's always going to provide. And so in that moment, the way it changed me moving forward was I just had this internal peace that seeking after Christ in being the internal, where the Holy Spirit transforms us. It started during that time. It was moving forward. I knew that He would always be there for me.
We're in this barn.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do here?
Yeah, so this barn is a barn where we focus on the mind, body, and spirit of anybody really who has a growth mindset. So we have basketball players from preschool age all the way to professional athletes that come through here. We have farmers, entrepreneurs, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, high major D1 athletes that come here for mindset training. We have people that come here who want to work on their fitness. We also have a young lady who was in a motorcycle accident who was actually a basketball client before, who comes here and is fighting and relearning how to walk after being hit by an impaired driver. So there is a wide range. We have red light therapy here, we have basketball, there's mindset, we have a cold tub that people get in, which you need to get in after this. Maybe we should get it on film. But just really taking care of the mind, body, and spirit.
You're helping Corinne. Before the accident, what was Corinne like as a person?
Very funny, so like outgoing. She would come here, so she was actually on track to be a college softball player. So she started coming and doing basketball training with me. I was helping her learn how to shoot. And she would come to an unheated barn after basketball practice, drive 30 minutes, and we'd put a salamander heater behind her, and she just started working on her shot. And like I said, you know, why did I stick with basketball? A love for the game. She started the same process of falling in love with the game of basketball, totally created her stars and switched from on track to softball in college to I want to play college basketball. And she ended up going to Franklin College. She had just finished her freshman year at Franklin. It was 2020, and the world shut down that March, and so she went home. She was working, and she's been around motorcycles. So for her 19th birthday, she has some extra cash. She'd been around. She'd had her motorcycle license for a really long time, and she bought herself a motorcycle for her 19th birthday.
She's riding, an impaired driver comes out in front of her. What was her chances of survival in that accident?
Her chances to survive, so the first person on the scene was her dentist, and she's gone to that dentist for like her whole life. And your dentist is like up and personal in your face. He didn't know who it was. So that's how bad of shape she was in. The chances, I wasn't there at the scene, but he said that like he's pretty sure she didn't have a pulse, that she wasn't breathing, and he's a believer. He prayed over her, and she took a big gasp of air. The neurologist within the first week wrote her off and told her parents, find a long-term care facility. She'll be in quote-unquote what they called a vegetable, which you shouldn't use that term, but she'll be a vegetable the rest of her life, and you just need to look for a long-term care facility. And her parents looked the neurologist in the eyes and said, we believe in God, we believe in the power of healing, and like we're not going to accept that answer. We're going to fight alongside her and help her have the best chance to make a recovery from this accident. So that was the chances. Was like she might, like, I wasn't there, but she could have been dead on the road and could have been revived, right? Through that prayer. And she was supposed to she's supposed to be in a nursing home, which when you guys will meet, like, she is fully alive and making a recovery.
So Corinne, before your accident, what did you want to do?
Become a police officer, and I went to college for a Spanish major.
Yeah. You also prayed a prayer before your accident. What was that?
I prayed for God to show me He's real.
Yeah. But you weren't expecting the answer that you got.
No.
No. What happened in the accident?
I was driving my Harley down State Road 19, and then a car pulled in front of me and boom, hit me.
Wow. How does Courtney help you?
In a lot of ways. She helps me with my beliefs and everything, and she helps me walk again. She helps me gain strength again. A lot. That girl is a godsend.
Yeah. Is she hard on you?
Yeah, but I think that's just to make me better.
You feel like you're getting better? Yeah.
100%.
Do you feel, in answer to that prayer, that God become real to you after the accident?
Yeah.
In what ways do you feel that?
God showed me He's real because He allowed me to wake up from my coma, and He he kept me alive mostly.
What would you hope for the future?
That I become God's into someone else.
What would you say to other people listening to this interview who have gone through a hard time like you? What would you say to other people who want to give up?
Just keep pushing forward. You can do it, and and God is a really big factor in my life. Yeah, and He does a lot for me.
Corinne, thank you.
Thank you.
Fabulous. What are you seeking to do with Corinne? What do you do when you're working with her?
Yeah, so when she first started, her dad called me up and said, hey, Corinne's out of these rehab places, but she needs strength. She needs to build her core up. Would you mind coming and evaluating her? And I'm like, sure. I know health and fitness. I'll go check it out. And it was the hardest evaluation. She screamed. She was so hurt. She couldn't get into certain positions. So it was really I explain it starting with a baby or toddler learning to walk. They learn how to roll over, and then they learn they're pulling themselves up onto their knees, and then they eventually get themselves up and they're walking. It's been doing that for the last 2 years to get Corinne on her feet. And a part of that too is work on the mind, body, spirit. It's been mindset training, it's been nutrition, it's been sleep, it's been really instilling in her and helping her to process through what's happened, and that she is being transformed into a new creation, and to really, help her to forgive the guy that hit her, help her to have a vision for where she wants to go. And it's not walking. I say, if walking is where you want to go with this, that you're missing the point. God is working through you. And so I'm so excited for her to speak today, because one of the things you're going to be a guest speaker. What's happened, you have no idea the impact this is going to have on other people.
In this barn and all you're trying to do, in 40 years' time when you're looking back, what would you like to have achieved out of what you're doing here?
What I would like to achieve is that there's been people who have came here and have been built up and understand who Jesus is, understand, got unstuck and know their purpose, and that we call it the compete mentality, which is doing what God is calling you to do even when it's hard, and that people are taking this message and that it's worldwide, the compete mentality. And it started on a driveway, in a dairy barn, and in this barn, and that it's not about anything. I don't want, you can't take anything with you when we die. What I want, when I look back in 40 years, is that there has been a movement through people throughout the whole entire world, and they have came and they've encountered the Holy Spirit in their lives, and what the mind and the spirit is more important than the physical that's going on.
Courtney, that's fabulous. Thank you. Wonderful.